Well, gentlemen, we're live. So when you get up, if you don't want to be seen by the entire world, don't get in front of the camera.
I love pizza.
We still got a few minutes.
Let's get ready. Let's go ahead and get ready for possession time. Possession.
Boat drives east towards Temple City. 450 miles later, he checks into a hotel. The armed robbery and the food store in the whole city. So the first way to go. How is this going to how long is this going to get away with it? Go fishing in the store. He brings it up. Didn't work. He is trying to
Y'all want to know what happened on the TV show?
He almost got caught.
Y'all got away. Yeah, they got him. Yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah. That's but y'all look at the title. It said he almost got away. And well, we got about a minute. Well, alrighty then. It's about time for us to get started. Let's make sure this morning that we fill out our sign-in sheets. Y'all hang on while I get my
Retirement home. Is it up 2 hours?
I holler at y'all all the time. I left my book in my office. I apologize. But we're going to be talking about smoking cessation this morning, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We've got a little bit different information stuff that we're going to go over this morning. And so it's a little bit of a Tuesday. That means it's a light group on Tuesdays. We're not going to do a whole bunch. We'll get into it and take our breaks and all of that stuff and have a good time. Christmas is coming. So I know that everybody here is excited about Christmas coming. And we're going to put up a Christmas tree, but I'm not really sure where we're going to put it in here. We had one when we were over on Avenue A, and this morning, as I was coming in, I went by North Point to get the paperwork from yesterday. And guess what we found in the foyer?
What's that?
A Christmas tree. So the ladies already have their Christmas tree up and all of that kind of stuff going on over there, and it's looking pretty good. And I said, well, if they've got a Christmas tree, we ought to have one, right?
All right, Robert.
Yeah. I don't know exactly where we're going to put the Christmas tree, but we're going to put it in here somewhere. We'll find a spot to put it. And then if y'all want to put Christmas gifts under it, we have to have a limit on the price. And so if you're buying something, for me, I'm thinking a limit of $700 to $800. If you feel like you need to go over that, we'll talk about it.
What about under?
And I'll be buying everybody. No, look, I told y'all I was going to stop lying, so I'm not going to stop lying. We're not going to be working to put a Christmas tree, presents under the tree or anything like that. Our gift this year is going to be on the 5th. On the 5th of December, what are we going to do? We're going to go to a real gala. We're going to have a really nice time. It's a real fancy dress type of thing. If you don't have anything super fancy, we don't want you to get completely worried about that. Miss Sheikah is going to be helping us get decked out. I've got a black suit with stripes. It's a good looking suit. Actually, pretty expensive suit, but I can't wear it anymore because that's back when I was a bigger guy. So I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna bring it tomorrow, and I'll give it to Miss Sheikah, and she'll find somebody in here that can wear it because there's bigger guys in here than me, and so she'll be able to do that. Here's the deal. This is for you and the staff and stuff like that. We can't bring a +1. So we've had a few people ask if we could bring our family members or bring somebody. We can't do that. Just for the folks who are here in the facility. So, and somebody keeps saying we're going to dance. I used to dance really well. I'm going to tell you, I was good. So people tell me, because I was always so drunk. I didn't know if I was dancing well or not, but yes, sir.
Are we going to be able to go to Walmart before the dance?
Well, I don't know about that. That's operations that has nothing at all to do with me. So I don't know if you're going to go to Walmart before the dance or whatever. So I just don't know. You'd have to ask the RA staff, and they'll get with Miss Sheikah, and they'll figure all of that stuff out. 'Cause I don't know. My whole goal. I have several goals in my life. One of my goals in my life, which is not the greatest goal, but it's one of those goals, is not to ever go back to Walmart. I wind up in there from time to time, but I try not to go to Walmart. Yeah, it's a nasty, terrible, horrible store. They make you check out your own stuff. They don't give me any break in the price for checking out my own stuff. Nobody there at the whole Walmart in the whole world, no one has ever come up and said, hey, look, Dr. Garner, let me train you on how to use. They didn't train me, but they expect me to do the job, and then they ain't paying me to do the job. So I'm thinking, I ain't going over there no more.
You know, that's a good point.
It is, man. No Christmas tree. We ain't got a Christmas tree. So, I hate to do this, but you got any green clothes? You have any green clothes? if you can you do this? There you go. I'm sorry, we pick on you incessantly. That's because I suffer from small man complex. And if you're taller than me or bigger than me, you got it coming. It's going to happen to you. No, well, look, I will get with other folks here. I'll get with Miss Rebecca and see, because we don't have a Christmas tree out there and we're not decorating this junk. We'll get us a Christmas tree. I'm thinking Miss Cynthia probably buy us one. You know, she just kept walking too. She just kept on going. So, all right. So make sure that you fill out your paperwork, ladies. I came by this morning. I don't know what time it was, 6 something, and got y'all's paperwork from over there. It was right up front. It was well done, and I really appreciate all of that. Do that again today. Make sure it's all legible, and if it's out there in the front, I can find it, and it's a really good thing. So thank you for all of that. So yesterday we talked about when we came in out of the cold and got into recovery, got into some kind of treatment, that our health, usually our physical health, sometimes our mental health, and sometimes even our spiritual health. That's why we go through these 4 things: mental health, spiritual health, family health, and physical health, right? Those are the 4 points that we take a really good close look at this facility and in the Land Manor as a whole. And if we can get those 4 points lined out, if I can get physically in good shape, mentally in good shape, get my family in good shape, and get at the right place with my God, I'm going to be okay. You know, if I get those 4 places done, I'm in pretty good shape. So when we first crawled off the highway and got in here, we usually, that's not everybody, but usually we're pretty poor health, right? We've messed our health around, giving it up for the use of drugs and alcohol. But then at some place, at some point, and usually it's when we get into a situation like this where we're trying to do something for ourselves. You know, we've gotten away from the selfish use of drugs and alcohol, but now we're going to be a little selfish about the fact that we're trying to do something for ourselves. We're contemplating where we are physically. And I will tell you that how many of us are where we want to be physically? Everybody? Nobody? I'm not where I want to be physically. You know, I haven't been well here lately. I got up this morning and made the decision. You know, I'm healed in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm just healed. That's who I am. Now, am I going to go to the doctor? More than likely. I went to the doctor yesterday, and they took blood and took X-rays of my my stomach and all of this. And I went to the X-ray lady. I feel the need to tell y'all this. I went to the X-ray lady, and she said, I'm standing there in my clothing, and the young lady said, do you have a zipper on your pants? I said, how many guys come in here that don't have zippers on their pants? Very few. I'm sure there's some. But yes, ma'am, I have zippers on all of my pants. And I have several, and they all got zippers. She said, well, you're going to have to zip them down, pull them down, and do all. So they took x-rays of all that stuff, and that's fine. And I will tell you this as well. They took blood, and that young lady, y'all like to give blood. You don't? Oh, come on. I have seen people that are so afraid of big guys, so afraid of needles, they lay out on the floor and screaming and crying and all. Look, that girl put that needle in my arm yesterday and sucked out 3 vials of blood, and you never felt it. It was like putting something into a piece of butter or something. She said, big stick. Never felt.
Well, she was good.
She was good, yeah. When I go, if I ever have to go back, I'm going to look for that lady. She was good. Look, I'm not at all afraid of needles. You know, if I need to get poked, need to get a shot, I can do that. I prefer it not to hurt at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like getting, you know. So that she was really good. So we're at the place now, and I know y'all. That was a prelude, and I'm sorry, but we're contemplating. We got to a place in our life where, first off, our health was all messed up and all of that stuff, and now I'm standing there and I'm thinking, hey, you know what I need to do? What? What do I need to do? Something. I need to do something. Anything that I do to help my health is better than doing nothing, right? If you feel bad, what should you do? Go to the doctor. Get checked out. Go, if you're here and you feel bad, go tell your counselor, I feel bad, right? I'm sick. I don't feel good. I've been throwing up. I've gone to the bathroom and I've had projectile vomiting and embarrassing issues with other things. Just go tell them, look, let somebody know you don't feel well, and go to the doctor, get something done, do something. If I want to stay healthy for the rest of my life, then I need to start doing something along those lines. First things first, I need to get off drugs. I need to get off drugs. I need to stop using drugs, and we put alcohol under that because alcohol is a drug. So if whatever drug you were using that put a damper on our life, we need to get that out of our life. Look, that's why we're here, right? I have some people who are here to check a box. You know what that means? Parole, probation, CPS, your grandma. Somebody said, you're going to treatment, boy, or girl, and you go to treatment. And you're there for a certain amount of time because they said you had to be there for a certain amount of time, right? And we got that box checked so we can go home now. Now, I'm not saying you folks, I'm not saying you ladies over there, but there are people who do that, right? Here's the deal. That's okay. If you're here or if you're over north to check a box, while you're there checking a box, pay attention. Something might snap. Something might click. You might say, well, you know what? I got to be here. I might as well take a bite of this anyway. While I'm here, I might as well get some of that. So now we're at that place where we're contemplating. You've thought about making better physical health choices. What does the word bettery mean? Bettery.
More.
I don't know. I have no idea. But that's what it says here. Somebody make a couple mistakes. It says, look, we have thought about being bettery. Okay. But we have thought about making better physical health choices. It's in my mind. I'm thinking about it. When I get up, and I'm making all these noises to get up, and when I get up in the morning, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm choking, and I'm coughing, and I'm puking, and my lungs pop out, and I have to get them back up and swallow them, all of that stuff so that I can breathe. You know, I'm starting to think about maybe I should make some better choices. But you hadn't yet developed a plan to do that. You're contemplating it. What does the word contemplating mean?
Thinking about it.
Thinking about it. deep thoughts, just thinking about it. I do a lot of thinking about stuff, right? I've been thinking about starting my own business back again. I've been thinking about that, been contemplating that. It's only been 3-4 years now, that I've been contemplating that. At some time, I might start that. But here's the deal: contemplation is a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking about getting myself into some good shape is a good thing, isn't it?
Got to put action on
It is. Yes, but like Mr. Adams said, if you don't put any action behind it, you ain't doing nothing much, right? Thinking about it ain't going to get you there. Thinking about it is not going to get you back into good shape. Thinking about it is not going to get your muscles to grow. Thinking about it is not going to give you more stamina. Thinking about it is not going to do anything but get you prepared to do something about it. So once I get it all thought out, it says, look, we are trying to figure out now where to start. So where do you start? See, it's all that thin air up there where he has to walk around in. But he's right. He said, look, start at the beginning. That's why we can say, look, here's the deal. I need to do something. Don't make much difference what it is. Most of us, we are one of the most sedate countries in the world. Which country in the world has the longest life expectancy? Japan. Japan has the life expectancy in Japan is higher than anybody else's in the world.
Really?
Yes, and every day, if you walk through Japan, they meet out in the fields and out in the wherever, and they're doing all of this kind of stuff, and they're doing exercising, low impact exercises every day of their life.
They eat rice.
And they eat rice and they eat good food and they do all of that kind of stuff, but they're moving. And they're teaching their children, you need to move, you need to do this, you need to do that. A lot of them are practicing judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, all of that stuff. We use them, we look at that and we think, man, that's a great fighting technique. That's not what they're using it for exercise. That's what they do for exercise. We sit around and say, look at them Japanese people, all them doing them exercise. Man, they tire me out just watching them people, right? And we sit there and we roll over and we get another Pop-Tart. Somebody brought some honey buns off in here today.
They need to bring some more honey buns over.
Thank you.
I found that box of honey buns on the side of the road. I said, man, I bet you if I take these boxes of honey buns and somebody throw it away on the side of the road over here, and there's somebody up there eat them.
Yeah,
and they did. Yeah, I went through there a while ago. Somebody, I ain't going to say who it was, but there's a guy in there licking that box. I said, you can't eat the box. Man, some people. But so if I wanted to get into better shape and I decided this morning I'm going to get in better shape right now, what do you think would be the number one thing that I could do to help myself get into shape? Start doing something, start walking. All of those are good plans. There's one more thing. Stop smoking, somebody said. If we stop smoking, that might be beneficial. It could be. Did y'all see the thing we got going on up here? This old boy up here, look, I know y'all can't see it very well over at North, but I may take a picture and come show you. No, I'm not going to do that. Somebody might. He's skinny. He got a bloated belly. All of this comes from smoking. He's bald-headed. And if you bald-headed, I apologize. I didn't mean no harm. But he bald-headed. Did you know that smoking cigarettes can cause you to go bald-headed?
No.
It will cause you to get bald-headed a little bit quicker. It helps your stomach muscles. Drinking beer and smoking cigarettes causes your stomach muscles to atrophy, and they'll get more elastic and go out. You have a hot belly and do all that. And you see how skinny he is? And you see these little lines, that means he got some lung cancer going on there. And so he's in a late stage of the wasting disease, which is also caused by smoking. And he's feeling, look, he ain't got no money because you see he's got some pretty nasty clothing on. And the man's barefooted and he don't have a belt on. He can't afford a belt and he can't afford no shoes, so he's walking around barefooted. But he's on a well-worn path. And where does the path lead?
Nowhere.
Oh, it leads somewhere. It
To the
leads
graveyard.
off into him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ain't looking at the graveyard. He's looking at the cigarette that he's got in his hand. And this is a whole pile of empty cigarette packages. And so over here, what does that say?
Stop it.
That says the smoker's retirement home. Smoker's retirement home is the graveyard. And see, it's all, I mean, there's a lot of people over there, and it's just a whole bunch of more people going on over there. And look, the reason I did all that, that's nasty, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the Surgeon General said if we quit smoking, 98% of our medical problems would go away
I stopped today. Right
overnight. You're going to start today?
now. Yeah, stop.
You're going to stop. All right.
Smoke cigarette.
I got it. That's Miss Casey.
Who was that?
That's Casey.
Who was that?
Yeah, all right. Really quickly, you got to say something. See?
I do.
Okay, you want to come up here so that you can talk to the other folks as well?
No.
Miss Casey says she don't care about you people at North. She don't care. She wants to talk to the people at South. So that we're going to let her do that so we don't disrupt the group all that much longer.
So the van is on the way to pick up whoever is to go to grab the boat.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. That they'll talk about and last night. They'll just be ready. Oh my, that's it.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Can I go?
How was supposed to get
No, no.
So,
Was it this?
okay, so listen, we have stuff to wear, do not go. If you have nothing to wear, then go.
Oh,
Okay?
yes, ma'am.
But, you know, be legit. Okay, sorry.
Is this for the dance?
So
Sorry.
let me share what Miss Casey. She didn't disrupt our group. She destroyed it. The van's on the way to come get people. Look, if you have some nice clothing, it's going to be a gala. What does gala mean?
Don't sound too good.
If we're going to have a good time, and we're going to look. I have a suit coat that I'm going to wear, which I do that every day. You know, I wear the same clothes I wear up here. I wear them at church, and so I may wear a tie. I quit wearing ties years ago. I've got a whole drawer full of ties, but they were done back in the 40s, so they're about that wide. But I went to look yesterday. No, day before yesterday, and the new ties or the wide ties are coming back. So I told my wife that's why I kept them, you know, because they're coming back. Yeah. Okay. Do I have a red tie? Yeah. Like I said, I got about 400 ties.
Oh, sorry.
Where you something big?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
hot.
So anyway, if you got something. If you got something nice to wear, please don't wear something like what he's got on over there. If you don't have anything other than your pajamas, you ought to just stay off in bed. I mean, that's where they fall.
Hey, let me go there.
You ain't supposed to go to group in pajamas or at Walmart. I saw a lady in Walmart the other day in pajamas, and I'm going, Lord, girl, lay down somewhere and take a nap. Anyway.
Bet that woman just want to put most people down.
So tobacco, listen, tobacco may increase the risk of sudden death from a condition where the heart does not beat properly. It causes ventricular arrhythmias. As a result, the heart pumps little or no blood to the body's organs. How many folk know that when you don't get blood running through your body, you're going to croak pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody ought to know that. You're going to be suffering from sudden and complete croakification. And when your family and your friends come over and they say, hey, you ain't going to say nothing because you dead, right? So here's the deal about cigarette smoking, the use of tobacco, and all of this other kind of stuff. Now, let me say this real quickly. I used to have, and I still have some stuff to help people stop smoking. But am I trying to get you to stop smoking?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I would like for everybody in the world to stop smoking, put all of those crazy people out of business, but it is not my business to try to make you quit smoking. What I want to do this morning is give you the information, and then you will have the information and you can make an intelligent choice about whether, an informed choice about whether or not you want to quit smoking. Here's the deal. I'm an LCDC, proud to be one, because I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor. One of the biggest drugs that they teach us about in LCDC school. My degrees are in psychology. In the stopping the use of drugs and alcohol, the biggest one is nicotine. We spend a lot of time because it's the one that kills more people than any other drug combined, any other form of death combined. Suicide, natural, just dying from old age, getting hit by trucks, murder, all of those things. You put them all together. The use of tobacco in all of its forms kills 3 times as many people every year as all of those other things combined. And yet, we still do it because we are highly addicted to it. Tobacco use, yeah. No, that's okay.
What do you have to help people get off?
Well, I have a program that, I used to have my own facility called LHG Education. And for $125, we have a program that guarantees you to get off of cigarettes or any kind of tobacco product. But it costs $125. And if you don't get off of it, if you don't quit smoking, we guarantee that you don't get your money back.
Is there a
we spent that.
Is there like a medication?
No medications, no nothing like that. We do. We put you on we give you a treatment plan that we use positive self-talk, and we use exercise, and we do instruct you to go get your own medication. And the medication that we use is vitamin B12. I've never seen anybody that really wanted to get off cigarettes not be able to do it with that program.
B12 shots?
No, it's just a pill. You take, yeah.
Got to take shots.
Yeah, but you wouldn't probably need to take the cigarette. So cigarettes, tobacco use is the leading preventable cause of death in the United States.
Yes.
It's the leading cause of death, and it's preventable. All we have to do is stop. And I had a lady ask me one time, have you ever tried to... Yes, I used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes. See that? You got to take 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Right?
How long did you do that?
I quit. I did that for about 5 years. And my dad started my brother and I smoking when I was 8, my brother was 5. My brother kept smoking until he was 55, which is 50 years, and then he quit. And then I quit. I didn't really get stuck on it. I started smoking when I was about 17 or 18. And when I went into the Army, I was smoking. And so I smoked for about 5 years. So when I was about 24, I quit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but it was the smartest thing I've ever done, other than accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And marrying the girl I married, smoking was, getting rid of that was a big deal. So, cigarette smoking causes 1 of every 5 deaths in the United States every year. Cigarette smoking is estimated to caused the following: more than 480,000 deaths annually. And that is, look, one of the things that's really insidious about smoking is that secondhand smokes kills people. So this 480,000 includes deaths from secondhand smoke. I've had people tell me, I love my children. You're killing them by smoking around. I've seen ladies holding a baby and a cigarette stuck in their mouth. This is my little baby. They did poorly. Yeah, he's going to even be better looking when they fix him up when they put him in the grave. It's going to be great. 278,544 deaths annually among men, including deaths from secondhand smoke, and 201,773 deaths among women, including deaths from secondhand smoke. Why is the number lower for ladies than it is for guys?
Because ladies don't smoke more than men.
Yeah, women on the whole, not all of them, but women on the whole are smarter than guys. They mature quicker, and they're just smarter than guys. And so, IQ-wise, in the United States of America, women outstrip guys by 13 points. That don't sound like a lot, but what that says is the lady Courtney over here walking around on the back trying not to disrupt the class.
Yes, she is.
Courtney is smarter than Mr. Washington. Now you said that. She wanted to get somebody 13 points. Who did you get the right one?
I got the right one now.
Okay. On average, 13 points. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't some smart guys out there. There are. We mature, guys mature. That means that their frontal lobe connects to the rest of their higher reasoning brain between the ages of 25 and 27. So, 25, that's why at 24, 25, and sometimes it takes a whole lot longer than that. We're still playing pirate. That's why you go out at night, guys are going to fight and do all kind of crazy stuff because we're still playing pirate. Our frontal lobe, your frontal lobe is your reasoning, it's not your reasoning, but your frontal lobe is your brakes. It's what stops you from doing stupid stuff. Girls' frontal lobe connect to their higher reasoning brain between the ages of 17 and 22. So they mature a whole lot. Girls mature a whole lot quicker than guys. And so they don't use as much as we do. Life expectancy for smokers is at least 10 years shorter than for non-smokers. If you start smoking, you can guarantee yourself you're going to croak 10 years sooner.
I don't mean to laugh at that.
So, quitting smoking before the age of 40 reduces the risk of dying from smoking-related diseases. I'm just going to go ahead and resign. There ain't no sense in this. There ain't no sense even trying to do this. They just came and...
Dr. Con, I still hate to miss this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go smoke this here.
Yeah, go ahead. I really have... That's not hurting my feelings at all. Good grief.
Everyone that's leaving, let's go on and sign your name so we can get on out of here. Everything else, no.
So if you're below the age of 40 or 40 and below, now that's going to reduce, if you quit smoking, that's going to reduce the risk of you dying from smoking-related diseases by 90%. That's all, man. Can you get a hold of that? That's a whole lot. If you continue to smoke, then, that just doesn't count. Exposure to secondhand smoke That's when you're smoking and there's people around you that aren't, but they're breathing in what you're breathing out, or they're breathing the smoke that's curling around your head. Causes 7,333 deaths from lung cancer every year. Secondhand smoke causes 33,951 deaths from heart disease. So, it's just not a good thing. Smoking it's the disease of addiction. And look, we can espouse all of the stuff that's going to happen to you because you're using drugs and alcohol, or you're using tobacco and all of that kind of stuff. And then we'll have a break after a while, and probably about 90% of the crowd's going to go and smoke cigarettes. So it doesn't do any good at all. That's because nicotine is such an addictive drug. It's the most addictive drug on the face of the earth. No other drug. You can quit anything else. And it's simple and easy compared to quitting smoking. So it's a real hard thing to do. It is an increased death. Men who smoke increase their risk of dying from bronchitis and emphysema by 17 times. From cancer of the trachea, lungs, and bronchus by more than 23 times. Smoking increases the risk of dying from coronary heart disease among men by 4 times. Women who smoke increase their risk of dying from bronchitis and emphysema by 12 times. From cancer of the trachea, lung, and bronchus by more than 12 times. You'll notice that it is, again, less deadly to women than it was to guys.
Smoking?
Yeah. So why is that?
Because our heart beats faster than yours. You get pump more blood.
Now, usually when we do smoke, men will pull the smoke and all that stuff into their lungs deeper and hold it in their lungs longer. And so, we get more of an oomph from it. Between 1960 and 1990, deaths from lung cancer among women increased by more than 500%. What happened in the 1960s? We had all this freedom. All of a sudden, girls are, we're having free love and free sex and free this and all of this and all of that. And they just started before 1960, most women didn't smoke because it was a man thing most of the time, because, they just didn't do it. Before that, it was unladylike. And then in the 1960s, ladies became unladylike, and they began to start doing things that the guys did. Well, they would smoke, they would hang out, and all of that stuff, so their lung cancer went up by 500%. That's the only difference. Now, they did a lot of things different, but the only medical difference was started to use drugs, cigarettes. So that just shows us that the stuff is deadly. It's going to kill us. In 1987, this lung cancer in ladies surpassed breast cancer to become the leading cause of cancer among U.S. women. In 2000, 67,600 women died from lung cancer. During 2010 to 2014, 802,000 women, that's 56,359 women each year, died from lung cancer. So smoking increases the risk of dying from coronary heart disease among women by 5 times. Look, I'm not saying anybody in here is below the intelligence level of a slug, but let me tell you this: smoking is the number one most stupid thing we can do. It's not, look, I know highly intelligent people who will light up and do that 20 to 30 times a day. Okay? But it is not, and you got to know in your knower that if it's that toxic, it's not the smartest thing we've ever done. Right? It's not. I mean, it's dumb to do that, knowing it's going to kill me. It's taken 10 years off my life. And I always have. People tell me, well, you know, my grandma, she smoked every day. She smoked 2, 3 packs of cigarettes every day. She had 9 shots of wine. She lived to be 92 years old. Okay, there's always that outlier, right? Always somebody that's going to go against the grain, and that's the one we pick out, and we use that one as an example, other than the 386,000 people that died because they were smoking. We picked this one old lady who happened to live. Now, she got lung cancer. She only got one lung left. She can't taste anything. She can't smell anything. She hates waking up every day because her life is in the toilet. We pull her down and say she live all these years. So if she can live all them years, I can too. Okay. So tobacco causes disease and death. Each year, smoking causes thousands of deaths from numerous diseases. The following table, I got a big table here. There's all sorts of things that cigarettes causes. One of the big things is lung cancer. Right? Cigarettes cause lung cancer. They cause a lot of other cancers. They cause coronary heart disease. They cause other heart diseases. What is this? Cerebrovascular disease. What does that mean? Yes. That means the vessels in your head, all of these vessels up here start to get harder and start to stop up. What does that cause?
Blood clot.
Yes, and what does that cause?
Brain damage.
That causes strokes, and that causes aneurysm and all of that stuff. Other vascular diseases as well. So there's just tons of them. Smoking helps cause diabetes. It makes it come on 10 times quicker. It causes cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. Respiratory diseases means lungs and all of that kind of stuff. Influenza, pneumonia, tuberculosis, COPD. What does COPD mean? Yeah, something like that. COPD. I always forget what that's an acronym for, but we're going to look it up. Well, tell me what it means. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That means I can't breathe. I'm going to be pulling around one of those oxygen tanks. Does that stop people from smoking? I have seen people pulling an oxygen tank with a cigarette stuck in their mouth. Yeah, I saw this just the other day. Guy is just outside of the. I have a heart doctor, and I was going to see my heart doctor, and I'm coming out of there, and he's pulling a little deal there with his oxygen thing. He's got the thing all over his face, everything, and he's getting him a cigarette out. I was okay. Is that legal? Sure it is. If he wants to do that, he can do that. That's crazy. Respiratory diseases, cancer, cardiovascular, respiratory diseases, all sorts of stuff, prenatal stuff. And I have yelled at a lady who was with a child, and she was smoking. I said, do you know that can harm your child? You know what she told me? She said, I already have 4 kids and I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me she's not really addicted to, she's going to smoke if it kills the kid or not. Huh? Okay, so it causes sudden infant death syndrome. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. So smoking while you're carrying a child is not a good idea. Stop it. If you don't care about your own health, at least hang on for a while, long enough to have the baby, and then you can start back, right? You need to look at that. It causes I can't say the word, so I'm not going to try. Residential fires. A lot of times we have 336 people a year die from residential fires. That's 336 guys. We have 284 ladies that die from fire caused by going to sleep with a cigarette in their hand. People get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. What do? Go pee and have a cigarette. And then go lay down. Miss Rebecca, do we have a Christmas tree?
Oh, maybe 1 or 2 up my sleeve.
We need to have. I'm talking for here.
Oh, yeah. I probably do.
We need to have one. We don't have one out there.
Why don't we do a Christmas tree?
Because the ladies have a Christmas tree and we don't have a Christmas tree. And that has deeply hurt our feelings. And we want a Christmas tree. Ma'am?
Well, now.
That is totally not believable. I don't think these men give 2 shits in a whirlwind about a Christmas tree.
I want a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and we wanted a Christmas tree.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I was planning on getting my tree out and stuff. It's in storage. I have to have Jake look at it for me. So
Thank
if I
you,
get it out, y'all will decorate?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got the Christmas tree thing handled. Yeah, thank
Anything
God.
else I can do for you at this moment?
We're planning on getting you something too. We're going to have little gifts under the Christmas tree. And y'all know what they're going to be?
Handmade gifts?
They're going to be those kits to help you stop smoking.
Oh, hell, I'm not participating in that.
Me neither.
So we have, look, just from residential fires, there's 620 people die every year because they go to sleep with a cigarette in their hand.
Let me catch them smoking in my facility.
7,333 people die from lung cancer. Coronary heart disease, 33,951. Secondhand smoke, 41,284 people die from secondhand smoke. Y'all know what third-hand smoke is? That's when people, secondhand smoke is when you smoke around your kids and you smoke, around other people and stuff like that. Third-hand smoke is when you go out in the yard and smoke. And then you come back in and you pick your kids up. Or you come back in and you sit at the dinner table with your children. The smoke that has gotten itself trapped on your clothing, they can get lung cancer and stuff like that. It's just really desperately horrible, terrible, disease-causing crap. We do it anyway. I had a guy ask me years ago, why don't the government make it against the law? Look, and I had to tell him, I don't need the government. Some guy sitting in Washington tell me not to smoke. I don't need that. They do that already. It says on the side of the pack of cigarettes, go ahead on, smoke this. It's going to croak your butt. It's right there. If you go to England, they got a big old diseased lung on the front of the pack, and it says this is what smoking does to your lung. So don't do it. And I found it in a graveyard, and it was empty, and it was crumpled up and thrown down in the graveyard. I thought that was after. My wife used it for years to teach smoking cessation classes. So, lots of stuff going on with cigarettes and all of that stuff. We really should take some of that stuff seriously I had a guy tell me one time and said, I know why y'all teach the class. I said, okay, tell me why. The state says you have to. Is that true? Yeah, it is. The state says you. And they want you to know that this is bad for you. Yes.
I think I said this last time I did this class.
I don't know if you did or not. I tried my best not to remember. But what is it?
Here's my take on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to quit drinking. Well, actually, I have already quit drinking. I'm not craving drinking.
All right.
But if I was to just stop smoking right now, I would be pissed off at everybody in the world. It's like one thing at a time. You know?
Yeah, and that's why we still allow it. I have been in facilities where we didn't allow it at all.
Right.
And I really like those better than this. Because here's the deal. Of all the drugs we use, methamphetamines, cocaine, alcohol, they're all horrible, terrible drugs, and they will destroy our lives. And that's why we're trying to get off of them, right? But the one that will kill us quicker, more assuredly, is nicotine. That's going to kill us. And it's not the nicotine that's killing us. It's all the other crap that they put in that tobacco that's going to do that. It's going to murder you. So we kind of do it backwards because this is the worst drug. Well, what we say is we want to get you off a drug that's not nearly as bad as that drug. And then maybe later on you'll think about getting off that drug. Yeah, you know, and we do have some situations where we can help you get off that drug. But that's the worst drug out there. We should have, and I did have for a long time, a facility that's what we did. We got people off of tobacco. And so you come in there, it doesn't. We did that exactly backwards from where you did all of this other stuff. If we don't care if you're on cocaine, methamphetamines, alcohol, whatever you're using. We're getting people off of the one drug that's going to kill them immediately. If we can get you off of that, your life can completely change. Once you get off of that drug, then all the rest of these things seem easy. But we don't. There's very few facilities that do, drug and alcohol abuse cessation that way. But I do know what you're talking about. It is a horrible addiction, and getting off of it, when you stop, you will become what? Angry.
Tired.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Yeah. You'll get all of that stuff, anxiety. It's a hard drug to get off.
The halt syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get off cigarettes, it makes you lonely, hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. It'll do that. So we're going to quit for our break. And then when we get back, we'll be talking about a couple of other little things. So be back in at 15 after. Terrible fruit.
Terrible word.
Half a fruit taken out the fruit.
Terrible.
Okay, there's got to be 300,000 times a day take people out. This one is a state mandated class that we have to do, and people get it written up in their thing. And, these guys are just not going to be able to.
Yeah, they go right.
That's okay.
Until it's something different. She gonna believe me. She gonna believe me. She's gonna believe me.
We gonna put in that, right?
So,
And then
what you cooking today?
that's the food. Yeah, I figured out, Can't have my wife there.
Where everybody going?
Dude, good.
Is that what I mean? Hey, they what's going on there?
Yes, my love. What can I do for you?
Just connecting with that.
Can you see the sign out sheet? Of course you can.
Oh, I need to get some in there.
Then you got half. You got more than half hour.
You tell me that one? I was in the office. Oh, you going in?
He's gone.
What you going on?
Hey, they gone. Yeah, they got that shit. 9:30. Yeah. They been gone since 9:30.
They were just leaving when you sent up.
What?
They were just leaving when you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they'll bring they'll bring you later on.
No, I think that's only one day, two.
Son.
Gotta get a student.
The best view come from the hardest of crime. I'm just riding this pressure.
Sir. You can't be serious.
And I, yes.
No, he had gone. I had gave him a lay in. That. So we could sit wait. Cynthia told me that you said,
I didn't say that.
I believe it. I'm just telling you how it was given to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. You need no coffee?
I just put
I got you good. No, oh, yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I'm glad when I'm on the spread. Oh wow, that's neat. What happened? I'm ready to
Brave hard too.
Yeah.
Lots.
I should believe fall in love, fall in love, fall in love, love. I gotta love, I wanna keep this too. And I love, I gotta love, I wanna keep. If it's too much, it'll just tell your place of mind.
Look, Mr. Capricorn,
Peace. I got some. I see.
can I have an idea of this?
Trust me now. Take time. Let it go. Take off the shoe. Take off the dress out of the tree.
You're a Ortiz.
Nah, I don't know about all that, but
You know, scared.
Well, it's just about time to get all this started again.
That was say.
That hurt. All right, we're starting back. There's a few things. Look, we talked about all the people that were going to die and all of that, and what nicotine does to us and all of that kind of stuff. We're going to continue in that vein, but we're going to talk a little bit more about this is called Mind Matters. It's just some facts about the stuff we're going to talk about. Mind Matters is a series that shows how all of this happens. So some of this stuff is repetitive, but that's okay. Just going to go through it. We may have the opportunity to stop a little early, and I know y'all don't want to do that, but sometimes we have to do some stuff. So 1 in every 5 deaths in the U.S. is caused by smoking tobacco or secondhand smoke. That's 1 in every 5. 1 in every 10 is coming to group late. Like some people, it looks like they're going to come to group late and being killed by the instructor. That just happens. But, So what is nicotine? Anybody know? No? An addictive substance. It is, yes, it is. Nicotine it grows with the plant sometimes. Tobacco is a leafy plant grown all around the world. It's grown everywhere. Tobacco is used by so many people because it contains nicotine. Nicotine is very addictive. We get addicted to nicotine. Nicotine in the amount that is in the cigarette or in the cigar or in the stuff you stick in your jaw, there's not enough of it to be deadly to anybody. Even if you smoke 20, 30 cigarettes a day, the nicotine is not going to cause you any health issues. Nicotine in very high doses will kill you, and it's used in pesticides. It's used to kill mice, and it's used to kill roaches and stuff like that in very high doses. So if you had a very high dose of nicotine, it would kill you. But a very high dose of anything will kill you. A very high dose of coffee will kill you, in very high doses. So we have to be cautious about understanding that. So people use nicotine, they use tobacco. The fact is that we use the tobacco, and it's the nicotine in the tobacco that keeps making us want to do it. We smoke it, we sniff it. People use tobacco as snuff. My mom, when I was a kid, used Garrett snuff, and she put it in her lip. But a lot of people back in the day would sniff it up their nose. Just take a little bit and suck it up their nose like you do cocaine or something. And there's no way I could do that. Or inhale the vapors of tobacco and nicotine products, cigarettes, cigars, vaping. A lot of people nowadays are vaping. Everything just about goes off the rails at some point. Juul came up with vaping way back in the day so that people could get off of cigarettes. They used it so that they could start with a level of nicotine and vape that until people got off of it. But then their instructions were stop, once you get off the cigarettes, stop using the vape. It's not good for you. It causes popcorn lung. It causes stroke. It causes cancer. It causes all these things. Nowadays, there's 30,000 different types of vapes, and we have all sorts of stuff that people are vaping in those vapes. And, so it's just gone off the rails, completely being used in ways that it was never meant to be used. One of the things the Surgeon General says is that anything that you suck into your lungs is doing damage to your lungs. You don't need to be imbibing anything into your lungs. It's just not good. The only thing supposed to be going into your lungs is oxygen, air. Not stuff out of a vape, not cigarettes, any kind of smoking. None of that's supposed to go in there. We complain a lot about air pollution and stuff like that, and then we pollute our lungs with the stuff that we put in it. Just being smokeless products, there's a lot of smokeless products out there. The cigarettes, cigars, vaping devices, and hookahs. You know what a hookah is? What's a hookah?
A bong.
That's a bong. Pretty much what a hookah is. Yeah. So just being around people who are smoking can be dangerous. Well, I don't look. I go out there and of course, our counselors smoke as well. So, when I go out and if you're in a process group, we like to have our process groups outside because people smoke in process groups. I've never seen that before in my life. We don't do that. We don't smoke in process group. We're processing. We don't do that. But people allow that, and they do that. But there are people sitting in that group that are not smoking, and while they're in that group, they're getting I hesitate to say benefits, but they're getting the benefits of the smoke that the other people are smoking. So they're getting secondhand smoke. That's why I'm not going to be in a group like that. I had a guy one time years ago, this 20 years ago, or much longer than that, it's probably 30 years ago. And he said he wanted to, I was working in a place that was kind of toward Houston, and he said, I want you to go to an AA group with me. I said, great, let's go. So we go in the group. We went in this big old high-rise building, and downstairs there's this big old open area inside. It wasn't open. Inside, big old area there. And there must have been 100 people in that AA group, and everybody there was smoking. And that place, it had a pall in there about, I mean, you had to duck down to get under the smoke. And it was, I told the guy, there is no way on faith, I cannot stay in here. If you're smoking, I'm not going to hang around here. It's deadly. It's crazy. I'm not going to be around someone that is smoking. When I go out this door, just now, there were 3 or 4 people there, and they're all smoking. So, I made fun of it, but I actually was beating a hasty retreat. I want to get my butt away from there. It's like if you go to a party and people start shooting, what do?
Duck, run, get away.
Duck, run, get away. That's what you do. You don't want. I hear somebody say, well, return fire. Okay, well, maybe from a distance, I'm getting to flip away from there, right? But if I'm in a situation where people are smoking, I'm going to do exactly the same thing because it may not kill you as quickly, but it is detrimental to your health. I'm not going to hang around somebody that's smoking. Not going to do it. I remember when you used to go to the restaurants and they had people smoking in the table next to you. They don't do that anymore. All of that has been banned. You can't go in there and smoke anymore. And it's just an amazing thing. We talked earlier about the people who live longer than anybody else, and that's in Japan. If you look in Japan, do they smoke in Japan? Yeah. In the United States, what you think the percentage of people smoking in the United States would be? Is way north of 60%. I forget the number, but it's way north of 60%. In Japan, it's less than 20%. It's like 18% or something like that of the people actually smoke tobacco. They just don't do that. When they do, it is raw tobacco. What's raw tobacco? It's tobacco that you get. You pluck a leaf of tobacco off the tobacco plant. You roll it up and you smoke it. What you get at that point in time is the nicotine, whatever little chemicals that are in the tobacco, and not the 3,000 things that the cigarette companies put in your cigarettes that you fire up every day. So, it's in chewing tobacco. Just being around people who smoking can be dangerous. Breathing other people's smoke can lead to heart disease, to cancer. Chewing tobacco, snuff. Snuff is ground tobacco that can be sniffed or put between the cheek and the gum. Dip, that's wet snuff that is chewed. And snus. Anybody know what snus is? S-U-S-N-U-S, snus. That's the stuff that's just tobacco in little white pouches, and they put that between the thing too. So how does nicotine work? What does nicotine do? Nicotine is absorbed into your bloodstream, excuse me, and goes into your adrenal glands just above your kidneys. The glands release adrenaline, which increases your blood pressure, your breathing, and heart rate. Adrenaline also gives you a lot of good feelings all at once, and nicotine stirs that up. So what are the other health effects? While nicotine is addictive, most of the health effects come from the other tobacco chemicals. The things that's going to kill you are the other things that are in there. Tobacco use harms every organ in your body. You know that your skin is an organ, right? Smoking tobacco in any form, using it as a dip or as snorting it, whatever you do, causes the people who smoke will wrinkle about 10 times quicker than people who don't smoke. So it messes with your skin. Tobacco harms every organ in your body. Smoking tobacco products cause lung, mouth, stomach, kidney, and bladder cancers. It can also cause lung problems like coughing and lead to heart disease, eye problems, yellow teeth. And you see what this guy's name is? Mr. Hal Itoki. What's his name mean?
Bad breath.
Bad breath. Mr. Halitosis. So yeah, smoking cigarettes gives you bad breath, yellow teeth. It also takes away your sense of taste, sense of smell. You can't smell your food. You can't taste your food. I've had people tell me, I can still taste my food. It don't taste anything like it did before you started poisoning yourself. You poison your taste buds. Your tongue is covered with taste buds. There are other places in your mouth that have taste buds. You are poisoning them, and they are working at about 10% of what they're supposed to be working at. So when you stop using that, after a while they come back, and you can taste, food tastes completely different, and smells completely different. All of that stuff. So smokeless tobaccos are dangerous too. They cause oral cancer, heart, gum disease. So how do you become addicted to nicotine? Takes a minute, not long, but over time, the nicotine in your body can change the way your brain works. All drugs change the way your brain works. All drugs do something to morph your brain into something different. So here's the deal. Y'all don't get offended. But before we started using drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and all of that stuff, our brains were pliable and all of that. Now they're not quite as much. And so we're not as smart as we were when we started using. Using drugs and alcohol over about a 20-25 year period can shrink your brain up to about 20% of its normal size. You cannot believe that if your brain has shrunk, that you are still as intelligent as you were before your brain had a problem with shrinkage, right? And it's because you can't possibly think, if you've done all that damage to your brain, that you're still on that same level you were before you started using. You can't possibly believe it. Some people do. Most people don't. Over time, the nicotine in your body changes the way your brain works. When you stop using it, your body can get confused and you can start to feel really sick. I've had people in groups say, hey, will you take a break? I really need a cigarette, man. You need one? Yeah. You do need one because the nicotine level in your body is going down. Your body has accepted nicotine as a stasis in your body, something that you must have. And so when the nicotine starts to go down in your body, your limbic system says, hey, we need some more nicotine. If we don't have a cigarette right now, we're going to die. So we get up and we go outside and we get a cigarette so we don't die. So, makes it hard to stop using those products even when you know what it's doing to you. It's the slowest form of suicide. We know what it does. I get people giving me all kind of good excuses. I had a guy tell me, said, "You ever been in the nursing home?" Yes, I've been in a nursing home. I used to preach at a nursing home years ago. And he said, well, I don't want to wind up like that. I don't want to live to be 80, 90 years old in the nursing home. Well, you know what? If you don't stop smoking, then that's a bigger possibility for you than it is for people who don't smoke. But people will come up with all kinds of good excuses for bad behavior, right? Well, I smoke. Well, I just like the way it tastes. You don't know how it tastes. You don't have any taste buds left. Anyway, so this makes it hard to stop using those products, even when we know it's killing us. Even when we know it's not the best thing in the world. That's when it becomes an addiction. I'm an addict. Just can't stop. It can be very hard to stop smoking, but there are some medications that can help. There are ways to quit smoking. If you stay off of the cigarettes for about 3 days, a lot of those things begin to go away. A lot of those evil, nasty feelings slide away. So vaping is not good for us either. We've heard people talking about vape pens, vapes, e-cigarettes. Those are names for battery-operated devices that people use to inhale nicotine. flavoring, and other chemicals. They are not a good substitute for nicotine or for all this other stuff. They were, as we've already discussed, invented to help us get off of cigarettes. But all of this other stuff, especially those things that are flavored and all of that junk that we get, we use in the vape, those things cause things like popcorn lung. What is popcorn lung? Anybody know?
Where your lungs got holes in it.
Not really holes, they're like little blisters.
Yeah.
Your lungs get blisters all over them, and they can pop, and it's like popcorn, and you wind up in the emergency room on a ventilator, and they take your lungs out. You know, not something I want to do on the weekend, you know, get your lungs removed. You have to have a lung transplant because you get all of these because you're vaping. Vaping, yeah, okay. It also causes some lung scarring, and it can cause vaping can cause cancer. These things don't just pop, you know, they pop and they become infected, and you get lung cancer from all that stuff like that. It's an amazing thing to me, you know. Just if they come up with something, it doesn't make any difference what it is. If they came up with a deal where you could put a rat, catch one of these rats, put that rat in a little chamber, and then close the chamber up where you couldn't see the rat or anything, and put his tail down on the long thing. And then you could light the end of it and suck that, you know, on this end, and the smoke from the rat would get you high. You think we'd use it? We would all go around after a little while being ratified. We'd come up with a good excuse that it doesn't make any difference what it is. If we can do it, we'll do it.
Gratified.
We'll be gratified by using the ratified. So, you know. So, puffing on a vape or an e-cigarette heats up the device, turns the liquid in the device into a vapor. The person then inhales the vapor, and the flavor or nicotine goes into the body. So, tobacco and nicotine vaping threatens the process. In 2019, 8% or 0.8, not 8%, 0.8% of 8th graders said they smoked cigarettes daily, but 1.9% said they vaped nicotine daily. So we got people in the 8th grade, and look, I know there are people in the 5th grade that are using stuff like that. People think that vaping can help stop smoking, but actually, the science doesn't prove that. And the reason the science doesn't prove that is because we did not use it the way that we were supposed to use it. We were supposed to use it at this level and come all the way down on it. It's just like Suboxone. I'm sure that you have heard of Suboxone. Wonderful drug, fantastic drug. I love Suboxone. Suboxone is a drug that is meant to, you start out with 2 milligrams, and then you go to 1.5, and then you go to 0.5, and then you go 0.25, and then you're off of it for the rest of your life. It's not something that you're supposed to be on for the rest of your life. It's just like methadone. When we first started with methadone was something that you started with up here, and you went here, and you went here, and you went here, and you're off of opioids, and then boom, that's what Suboxone is for, to get you off of opioids. And then, okay, we're off opioids, then we can go on with our life. It wasn't meant. People are using it nowadays for 30, 40 years. It's never was it meant for that. Vape never was meant for people to go down here to the store and get some strawberry crap and put in there and suck it into their lungs for the rest of their life. Never was meant for that. It was meant for you to use it for 2 weeks and then never touch it again. That's what it was meant for. But we still do it. There's people who vape all the time.
You mess. I go one right now. You go one right now.
Yeah. So some people think that vaping can help it, but the science doesn't prove it because we don't do it. I've seen people vaping 1 minute, smoking the next minute, vaping again. You know, anything I can do to damage my lungs, I'm going to do it. Anything I can do to damage and look, I have people tell me all the time, well, it's legal. Guns are legal, right? Here in the United States and here in Texas, guns are legal. But here, you're not supposed to get the gun and shoot people with it. You're not get to get and shoot yourself with it. You know, just because it's legal, don't mean you ought to do something to hurt yourself with it. And cigarettes are legal. Alcohol is legal. That doesn't mean that we have to go get that stuff and do something with it that hurts us. Tell me the reason why cigarettes and alcohol and vapes are all legal. Why is that?
Government approved.
Money.
Money. People are making billions of dollars. If you smoke 1 pack of cigarettes a day for your whole life, you're going to spend about $300,000 a year, not a year, over your lifetime. You're going to spend about $300,000. If you smoke 2 packs, that's about $700,000 that you're going to spend. That's $750,000, man, that you're going to spend over your lifetime using tobacco. If you smoke 3 packs, you're north of $1 million. Okay, my whole life I only made, this amount. How could I spend? Count it out. See what you're doing. Saw a lady buying a pack of cigarettes. The cigarette, I don't know what type they were. People have told me, but they like $15 a pack. You know what? When I was a kid, when I quit smoking, they were 33 cents a pack. 33 cents. And I quit smoking because I was in the Army. We didn't have a lot of money, so I needed a way to figure out how to quit, and that's one of the reasons I quit, because that if I quit smoking, I was smoking 3 packs a day, 33 cents a pack. That's 99 cents, $1 a day. That's $30 a month.
Now they're almost $10 a pack.
Oh, well, yeah. There's, like I say, I've seen them north of $10 a pack. Nowadays people, I know a person who smokes pretty heavily, and he buys some kind of crappy cigarettes that I guarantee they're like, I don't know what they cost, $4 or $5 a pack. They're cheaper cigarettes, and I swear they're the leavings that's on the tobacco floor. They sweep that junk up, and made in Affiwakinicky. You never know where they're coming from. So there's no way, come on. And still, so, we're spending all that kind of money on something that's going to kill us. And right now, there's a movement among doctors, and I understand it is well above. When I started studying on those guys, they were at 20,000, but it's well above 30,000 physicians, doctors, MDs, who will not treat you at all. They will refuse to treat you. If you, every time you go to a new doctor, you have to tell them whether or not you smoke. Use tobacco in any of its forms. I got a deal the other day for insurance from this company. I didn't get the insurance, don't need it, but on there somewhere, do you smoke? If you smoke, your insurance is way up here, but if you don't smoke, it's so, because they know what that does to you. These doctors are just, and I had a guy tell me, well, they can't do, yes, they can. They can. And they've all signed the thing. They're not going to treat you if you use tobacco in any of its form, because what they say is that most of the people that going to the doctor today, they're going because of alcohol and drugs or tobacco problems. And so when you get there, that problem that you have is related to your use of drugs and alcohol. So they want to treat the disease and not treat the symptoms. So they're not going to spend all day long. And that's a good plan. It may make more of us stop using. So, in fact, some research shows that non-smoking preteens and teens who vape nicotine might go on to use other tobaccos as well. So thank God that it's okay to smoke marijuana, right? So is marijuana anything like tobacco?
More enhanced.
Say it again.
I think marijuana more enhanced.
It may be. So what did you?
400 in
Okay.
put that.
Okay. So there's some things. Look, we're going to look a little bit at marijuana because I have had so many people. Anything, and what the Surgeon General said is anything that you inhale into your lungs is detrimental to your lungs. That means tobacco in all of its forms. That means vape in all of its forms. That means marijuana in all of its forms. You're not supposed to be sucking anything into your lungs. So, marijuana's scientific name is what?
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Cannabis. So, what is cannabis? Cannabis refers to the dried leaves, the flowers, the stems, the seeds of the cannabis plant. Cannabis gets called a lot of other names like marijuana, Mary Jane, weed, pot, has hundreds of chemical compounds in it. I've had people tell me all sorts of crazy mess about marijuana. One of the biggest issues, or there's two of them that really stand out. First is marijuana is a gift from God because it grows right up out of the ground. What else grows right up out of the ground?
Tobacco.
Tobacco grows right up out of the ground. How about cocaine?
Yeah.
How about all of those drugs? They're all alcohol. All grows right up out of the ground. Everything. There's some that's made in people make in their backyard stuff like that. But most of it grows right up out of the ground. So that doesn't hold a lot of water. So it has hundreds of compounds in it. That's the other thing I've heard. It doesn't have the same kind of it's not like cigarettes. Yes, it is. It has hundreds of compounds in it, including Delta 9 and tetrahydrocannabinol. What is tetrahydrocannabinol? It's THC. Yeah, we should. Everybody knows it as THC. It's what makes you feel hot. Right? So THC can cause people to change how they think, how they feel, how they view things around them. So Delta 8 and THC, Delta 8 is another chemical found in the cannabis plant that can make you feel high. It's added to foods like gummies and junk like that. Eating large amounts of it has led to medical emergencies. People have, it is not approved by the FDA for safe use. I have dozens and dozens of people down through the years. It's good for medical stuff. And Louisiana, I see big old billboards outside of Vidor. You drive through Vidor, there's a Good Earth company that's in Louisiana, and you can go buy marijuana from that place. And it's called medical marijuana. So what medical condition are we treating with medical marijuana?
Cancer.
What is it?
Cancer.
Cancer?
Depression.
Depression? Glaucoma? Anything else? None of that's true. We don't use that.
I thought glaucoma was.
How does marijuana help glaucoma?
Blood pressure.
Yeah, glaucoma is there's too much pressure in the back of the eye. If you get high, maybe you calm down a little bit, maybe the pressure goes down a little bit. How on earth does marijuana treat cancer?
The nausea.
Nausea helps with the nausea. Maybe it would. Yeah, maybe it would. So it doesn't. I've had people tell me that before. Marijuana helps with cancer. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything for cancer. As a matter of fact, marijuana causes cancer.
They say they prescribe cancer patients marijuana.
Yeah, they do sometimes prescribe marijuana to cancer patients to deal with some of the nausea that they yeah. But see, that's the deal is there's so much other stuff to deal with nausea than that. So um, people think that because cannabis is a plant, it can't be bad for you. There's a lot of drugs like heroin, cocaine, tobacco also come from plants. There's a lot more that they didn't put in there. People smoke it and they vape it. Some people think that vaping is safer because they're not inhaling smoke. It's not true. Cannabis can also be mixed in with foods like cookies, candies, gummies, and drinks. These are sometimes called edibles. Cannabis also can be made into an oil that is inhaled through smoking or vaping. So let me ask you this. We have a lot of people that talk about cannabis being a good medical thing that we can use. Why do you think we espouse that?
Or what?
Why do you think we claim that for marijuana?
Readily available.
It is pretty readily available, but I think what we're doing is looking for a good excuse for bad behavior. Cannabis is not good for you. It's not good for you. It's deadly. It's not good for you to use. It causes cancer, just like cigarettes. There's 7 times more tar, natural tar, in a marijuana joint than there is in a cigarette. 7 times more tar. So that tar leads to cancer. And people tell me, I never heard nobody that got cancer from. Okay, all right, but they do, and it's been medically proven. And the AMA says, look, cannabis is one of those drugs that we have fooled ourselves to believe that it's good for you. Nothing that we inhale into our bodies, nothing that changes our mood is good for you. It's not. Saying that doesn't stop people from using it. But here's the truth. 90% of the people tell me, look, I use marijuana because it's good for cancer. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you? I didn't know you had cancer. Well, I don't. But if it's good for, maybe it's keeping me from getting it or something. No, that's a good excuse for bad behavior. Well, here's the deal. It's good for trimmers, isn't it? Isn't it good for trimmers and stuff like that? Somebody said it was.
Detoxing?
No.
Marijuana.
Trimmers. That people have trimmers. It's not not from detoxing, from all sorts of other things. People have different types of trimmers and all of those kinds of things, and they say marijuana is good for that, but you don't have it. Yeah, well, see, it's working, right? Why do we use marijuana? People ought to just get honest about it. You use marijuana because you want to get high. That's it. You're not using marijuana because it's fighting the cancer that you don't have. You're not using it to fight the tremors that you're not having. You're not using it to fight this or do that. You don't have glaucoma, so you're not using it to fight glaucoma. We're using it because we don't like our reality, and we want to change our mood and change our reality. At least we ought to have enough integrity about ourselves to not try to come up with a lie that makes it okay for me to use marijuana. You want to use marijuana, do it. But then be truthful about it. This is what I'm doing. It is an addictive drug, and we need to stay off of it. Yeah, when I was in college, they said, look, you can tell people anything you want to tell them as long as you smile at them. I do a lot of smiling. So how does THC affect your brain? THC in cannabis can influence brain cells. It influences the neurons in part of the brain that control memory, emotions, and judgment. It can cause many effects, and some of these effects include feeling happy, relaxed, or high, even if you're in a dangerous situation. Being less, it causes you to suffer from ataxia, which means a lack of coordination, and you can possibly lose track of time. If you use enough marijuana, it gets you to the place where you're feeling anxious, fear, distrust, you become paranoid, or you panic. If you take a lot of it, use a bunch of it, having a hard time telling what is real from what is not. Marijuana is a mild perception distorter. So it takes what you are perceiving and removing. Or changing how you do that. Over time, THC in cannabis can harm your brain. It can change the way your brain in ways that makes it harder to learn or to remember things. There's a study that shows that children who began using marijuana when they're 10, 11, they almost never graduate high school. There's very, very few of them that's ever going to graduate high school, go to college, get a good job, all of those kinds of things. One of the things that marijuana does is give you a secondary disease that is called amotivational syndrome. So what is amotivational syndrome?
Makes you lazy.
It's what makes you lazy. Yeah, anytime you put an A in front of a word, that makes the word mean the opposite of what the word is. So amotivation means no motivation. So most people who are heavy cannabis users are not motivated to do anything other than use the drug. And I've heard 1,000, well, probably not 1,000, but I've heard a bunch of people tell me that ain't true. You know, I use marijuana all the time, I'm motivated. Well, you ain't doing much. So, you know, you don't have a car, you don't have a house, you don't have a job. Don't tell me you're motivated. If you're motivated, you're going to get a car and a job. Most of the time, most of the people who are heavy marijuana users are living in their mother's basement. All you have to do is look and see look at the statistics. I've had people tell me, man, I know people who use marijuana and cocaine and all this stuff, and they're running Fortune 500 companies. No, you don't. Tell me the person's name. Call them up. No, you don't. Yeah, if that person is using cocaine every day of his life and he's using marijuana even if there was a Fortune 500 company, I don't know anybody that runs a Fortune 500 company. That doesn't mean that you don't, but it's highly doubtful that any of us do. Those people don't hang out with us. They don't. So you don't know those people.
President Clinton said he was in hell.
Yeah, President Clinton said he didn't inhale. Yeah, and he may not have, but I think there's a brain cell there somewhere, that's been messed up. But we do that, and here's the deal. Look, if those guys were using marijuana on a daily basis, if you've ever used it, and I have, that was one of my things back in the day, and I didn't want to do anything. Drinking wine and using marijuana, that's what we did. And watching TV, turn the sound off on the television, and watch the preachers. Yeah. You're going to town, you and your buddy, you're riding down the road, and cars are passing by you, and you look, and your buddy say, "How fast are you going, man?" 15. Yeah, I've been there, done that, and I know better. People say, "Well, I use marijuana, and it makes me sharper." You must have been really dull before you started, because it doesn't make you. It brings your brain to a real low-level spot. So here's the deal: taking cannabis can affect the rest of your body in different ways. It's going to change how your brain grows. Your brain is still growing and changes up into your 20s, but if you start using marijuana before that, it's going to change the way your brain grows. It gives you an upset stomach pain, makes you throw up. It can make you feel hungry, and it can make your heart beat faster, which brings your blood pressure up and has caused stroke and brain aneurysms in hundreds and hundreds of people. But we never go there and say, look, this was the medical thing that it's called. Oh, it's good, you know, for you to have medical. Okay. Some people who use cannabis do become addicted to the drug. Being addicted it's just a substance use disorder. I have so many people argue with me all the time, especially if you go to high school and talk about that. It's not addictive. It is not addictive. You can't get addicted to cannabis. Man, marijuana, I'm going to tell you, everybody knows it's not. Well, stop using it. Well, I ain't going to do that. What? Well, if it's not addictive, just don't use it for the next year. Do that. That's because you're addicted to it. You get addicted 3 different ways to marijuana. You get addicted psychologically, you get addicted physically, and you have a secondary addiction that's called an oral fixation when you're using marijuana. So you're addicted to it that 3 different ways. If you weren't addicted to it, it wouldn't be a big deal. You could just stop. But you can't just stop. So maybe I'm addicted. So can you become addicted to it? Yes, you can. Anyone can become addicted to cannabis. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how much you use, where you live. Doesn't matter. Even if you aren't addicted, some people who use cannabis a lot will have withdrawal when they stop or cut back because their body's got used to having it. Withdrawal can cause people to feel angry, nervous, to avoid sleep. So the government has approved a few medicines made from cannabis. These medicines do not get a person high. So here's the deal. All of the medicines that have been made from cannabis do not get you high. It's not the THC that we're using. It's other parts of the plant. So all of this smoking dope, because it's good for this and it's good for that, that's not what we're using to help those things. Now, like you were talking about the people's stomach getting upset, we make a pill and it doesn't have any THC in it. So that it being medically sound on a couple of levels, that takes away the fact that you're smoking dope because it's medically approved. That's not what's approved. You just want to get high, but it's still bad for your lungs. Thank